Good afternoon. Welcome back to the B&H event space. You're tuned into The Selfish Photographer, Becoming Your Most Creative Self, hosted by Sony. And for that, I'd like to welcome Maher Ismail back to the program. Am I the
Uh,
selfish photographer? Are you? Are we all?
uh,
Do
I
more of us need to
think
be?
hopefully, I think we'll find out. We'll find out. We'll find out. Hopefully a lot of us, but we'll find out very, very soon.
Awesome. So we're on an exploration journey today. I'm going to let you do your thing. I'm going to tap into the creative mindset.
I'm gonna be pulling you in a few times, so be ready.
I will be ready. And you all be ready out there to ask questions. You know where to drop them in the YouTube chat. Maher, I will let you do your thing and I will slide into the background.
Let's see how fast I can present my screen properly this time. Actually, I almost forgot to share the screen even. Wow, rookie mistake. But all right. Hello, everyone. My name is Maher Ahmed Abdelgadis bin Mansour Ahmed Gamez. You can call me Z. And today is going to be the last workshop or class slash event with Sony and B&H this year. The Selfish Photographer. Imagine waking up every day brimming with energy, creativity flowing freely, and finally feeling like you're creating your best work. What if I told you that the secret relies in being more selfish? Kindly let me save you from drowning, says the monkey, putting the fish high on the tree. This is a quote by Alan Watts that I absolutely love, and I think it's a very common theme in my life, and I see it happening a lot in a lot of people's lives. And I think a very vivid example of that is thinking by prioritizing other people over ourselves, we're doing them a service. But in reality, we hurt ourselves and in turn hurt others, especially those who genuinely care about us. In the previous workshop, we discussed how our unique lived experience is what informs our reality, and what our reality and perspective informs our art. We also explored the illusion of separation, and we established how everything is scientifically connected and fundamentally made of the same stuff. Today, we're going to explore a zoomed in version of that on your life in order to optimize creativity. This is the vicious cycle. So, objective. By the end of this event, you will have learned scientific tools that will allow you to optimize your creativity, vision, productivity, energy levels, and overall well being. We will also learn about the most common ways Homo sapiens tend to jeopardize and sabotage their creativity. Here's a quick agenda for today: the critical ingredient, the elixir of life, the building blocks of creative work, and limitless creativity. Warning: if you are not ready to be in control of your own life and take responsibility for where you are in life, do not continue watching this. Being selfish has a bad reputation, but it's actually not that bad. Being selfish and stupid is how someone becomes evil. But being selfish and smart is essential to being good. By embracing healthy selfishness, we unlock creativity, amplify our impact, and cultivate genuine compassion, all fueled by one critical ingredient: energy. How desperate are you to become the best photographer artist you can be? What is worth suffering for right now? What is your purpose? And that's a big question, I'm aware. But no matter your purpose, at the core of it is your best, happiest, and most gracious self. Purpose is always changing. So, whatever you decide to do, being your best self will help you achieve that. First, we must reconcile with the reality that you do not have infinite energy, and time without energy is useless. You can have all the time in the world. If you don't have the energy to do anything, you won't be able to do anything with it. Photography demands a lot of energy and patience. When you're tired, foggy, or bloated, you can't achieve clarity of vision or the patience to edit, the focus to create your best work. This is a page from the book called Steal Like an Artist, which I love stealing from. And it talks about how he says he's a boring guy. He has a 9 to 5 job, and it emphasizes the idea that it takes a lot of energy to actually be creative and be an artist. It is estimated that approximately 1.5 million people in the US alone suffer from chronic fatigue syndrome, which is often undiagnosed. Symptoms include extreme exhaustion, not improved by rest, difficulty concentrating, and unexplained pain. Burnout. Chronic fatigue is not just physical. Emotional and mental burnout from work and life stressors affects 77% of employees in certain industries, according to a study that is done on workplace wellness by World Health Organization. Sleep deficiency epidemic. A recent survey revealed that 70% of adults report insufficient sleep at least once a month, which directly correlates with higher levels of fatigue, poor mental health, and decreased overall life satisfaction. If you remain in a constant state of imbalance, your photography and art will reflect that. Once you embark on the journey of the selfish photographer, you start seeing how every aspect of your life, every choice you make, affects your art. Sleep is just one of those key checkpoints in what I call the vicious cycle. Think of it as a wheel spinning really fast. It's reinforcing itself and boosting itself. The wheel has a lot of momentum and keeps getting boosted at different checkpoints. And not all checkpoints are created with the same strength. The selfish photographer tries to first slow down this negative cycle and then turns it around the other way by first targeting the strongest checkpoint. We'll tackle only three of the check of we'll tackle only three of the strongest checkpoints in this event. As I mentioned, elixir of life, building blocks of creativity, and the infinite well of creativity. Okay, Derek, what are your thoughts on sleep? Can you come in first before I can?
Wow.
I wanted to ask you, where are you? Oh, there you are. You're
There
all
I
over
am.
there.
I'm
I
back.
wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts on sleep? Have you ever noticed any correlation between sleep and the work you do and the art you produce? Can you think of a time when lack of sleep costed you something big? And of course, this is a photo by Derek that I like. I went snooped on his, I hope that was okay. I snooped on your Instagram
Totally
and
fine.
grabbed a few photos that I think are just beautiful.
First of all, what is sleep? Um, I don't sleep much. I'm a night owl. I wake up in the morning early ish. Um, no, I mean, I think I do function better on better sleep. My creativity seems to come most at night after midnight. So I don't know how that plays into sleep. I don't think it's
That's
maybe it,
actually that's actually fine because people have different chronotypes. Some people actually are built like naturally night owls. Their circadian rhythm actually is better at being a night owl, and some people have like early birds or whatever. There's a cool little study somewhere that tells you like famous people who are night owls and famous people who are what's the other one? Morning lark. That's what they call it. And I think that's because maybe back in the day, survival days where it was rough outside, we wanted some people to be awake at night to protect everyone else, and some people to stay awake in the morning, obviously, to do other stuff. So I think it's safe to assume that you're a night owl.
I'm a night protector.
And do you feel like when you like shift away from being a night owl, do you think your mood changes or something like affects your work?
You know what's funny is that when I shift away, when I go more morning lark mode, I find that I'm more engaged in my physical activities, my running, my working out.
Interesting.
And then when I'm the opposite, when I'm in night owl mode, it's more in a creative sense. So
Interesting.
my brain comes, my body
Yeah, your
gets
body
charged
comes
up by
alive.
being
Yeah.
awakened early, and my brain comes alive, and my creativity comes alive at night.
That makes sense. That makes sense. We're gonna get into why that makes sense in a second. All right, let's get into the slides. Thank you, Derek. Okay, the strongest checkpoint is literally what we think is one of the closest things to the elixir of life. It's called the Swiss Army knife of health. And the thing, Derek, thing about Derek is getting that sunlight and when you wake up, and I'll get into that in a second. I just remembered now. I knew it was related to something we're going to cover. According to the CDC and other studies, at least one of every three of you watching right now today are not getting enough sleep. 30% of Nation, nationwide, around 50 to 70 million Americans experience sleep disorders, including insomnia, which affects approximately 10 to 30% of adults. Many people do not even recognize they are sleep deprived because they've grown accustomed to persistent fatigue. The number of individuals who can sleep less than 6 hours without significant impairment rounds up, rounding up to a whole number is zero. So, Derek, I hope you're at least getting 6 hours of sleep. There is a global experiment that has been performed over 1.6 billion people across 70 countries twice a year, and it's called daylight saving times. We just had that happen. Now it's like 4 o'clock, 4:30 in New York, and the sun's gone. It's horrible. In the springtime, in the northern hemisphere, when we lose just 1 hour of sleep, we see a subsequent 24% increase in relative heart attack rates the following day. Yet in the autumn, when we gain 1 hour of sleep, like we just did not too long ago, we see a 21% reduction of heart attack rates. And it doesn't stop there. We see similar patterns in road traffic accidents, suicide rates, and even the harshness of a sentence by federal judges. Isn't that crazy? Like off of 1 hour of sleep. Now imagine what constant bad sleep can do to your creativity. Research has found that less than one single night of poor sleep can significantly lower your creativity, which is not surprising at all. The selfish or the self-full photographer chooses to protect her elixir of life in any way possible, even if it means not drinking coffee 10 hours before going to bed. I know, horrible. The selfish photographer is aware of the fact. Let me move my screen real quick so I could see. There you go. The selfish photographer is aware of the fact that even if she does fall asleep with caffeine in her system, it actually sabotages her creative recovery. I know a lot of people are like, I could drink a cup of coffee, drink a cup of tea, and go right to sleep. What happens is caffeine simply blocks the signal in your brain that communicates that you are tired. It doesn't give you energy. It just says shh, 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 shh to your body when it's screaming about being tired. The selfish photographer avoids staying up late doing things for other people unless they're morning no no unless they're night owls. There's obviously you need to figure out your chronotype. I know that's like a whole topic of its own, but for the sake of this, it's just prioritizing sleep. So prioritizing sleep over doing things for other people, hanging out with friends in order to set herself up for success. Good friends will understand and support you, unless they just want to use you for their personal entertainment and don't care about your well being or success. Or they just want you to just have fun. But remember what the monkey said to the fish. These are some interesting statistics. 1 in 4 million people, that's how many people can sleep under 6 hours of sleep and be fine. And 200% increase likelihood in heart attacks among adults 45 years or older who sleep fewer than 6 hours. There's a lot about sleep, so I don't want to get too sucked into it. But here's some little facts, like 1.2 million estimated number of annual car accidents caused by sleep deprivation just in the US. There's a lot to learn about sleep. I cannot cover it all. That could be an entire workshop in itself. But here are 11 tidbits from the master himself, Matthew Walker. Matthew Walker has studied sleep for over 20 years and has published over 100 scientific studies. To learn more, check out his masterclass or his book, Why We Sleep, New York Times bestseller, and named Best Book in 2017 by multiple organizations. A massive one for me is just not eating late. Digestion takes a lot of energy and can get in the way of sleep. And another one is just as soon as you wake up, getting a little bit of sunlight to kind of set the circadian rhythm in motion. These are all from Matthew's masterclass. One of my personal tips is they use the same eye mask, even if it's dark enough. This way I can prime myself when I travel to feel like I'm at home. And I also, as a traveler and light sleeper, I like to use white noise to kind of mask abrupt sounds. I recently started trying this mask from Manta Sleep that has a built-in Bluetooth speaker. So I'm trying that out and we'll see how that goes. I used to get sick all the time. I loved staying up at night. I don't think I'm necessarily a night owl, but I was also waking up at night and waking up, like staying awake at night and waking up early for work or whatever I had to do. But just by taking care of my sleep and tracking it, with the little information I know, I have been getting sick significantly less. That alone makes a massive difference for my work. Every time I got sick, I automatically lost a week of things I could have done. How many more weeks and lives are lost due to lack of sleep? Your brain needs sleep to flush out the accumulated toxins, and just this topic alone can enhance your creativity and well being. And remember, real rest is productive. Okay, Derek, do you think what you eat and your diet plays a role in your creativity? And also check out this really cool photo. I was actually kind of like I can figure out how you did it, but if you want to share that, feel free. But you can also we can dive into the question. Up to you.
Well, the lines, it's supposed to be kind of ambiguous. That's the yellow lines in the middle of the road, but they're made to look like dust, light, trails, to kind of add a little bit of motion. And the converging lines obviously lead you right into the image. And when you set the infinity focus, it gives you that nice blurring. So that is
Nice.
how it was done. It was actually
Beautiful.
in Zion National Park as I was stuck in the park without a shuttle bus walking back in complete darkness to the parking lot. Now, as far as diet, I have the absolute worst diet in the world. So I'm going to say
Wait,
no. I'm going to say absolutely not. No correlation to my creativity based
we
on my consumption of preservatives.
I think I'm scared to if you actually like note like change that diet in some way, I think you're gonna be too powerful. So I think you need to tune out this next section out of you. I think if you're doing this and you're doing whatever and eating whatever you want, I'm scared. I'm kind of scared. Okay.
I'll try it out.
Okay. Okay, so a few years ago, I was preparing to go on a New York trip to collaborate with like a high-end fashion photographer who does like six-figure shoots. And however, a persistent stomach ache prompted me to visit the doctor the day before my flight. What I thought was a precautionary check spiraled into an ambulance ride to the ER and 2 days in the hospital and a $5,000 medical bill. My appendix was on the verge of rupture, a life threatening condition that can cause extreme pain. People pass out sometimes from the pain. While most people undergo surgery, the doctors said I could just do antibiotics. And I was left with this ticking time bomb inside of me. And I remember laying on the fifth floor of my apartment and wondering how to get my body down once it bursts and I pass out. So this scare changed everything. I became incredibly mindful of my diet, which led to a remarkable improvement. I fully healed, lost 20 pounds without even exercising any extra. I was actually exercising less. I think I had like a knee injury, and I gained a lot of energy and found my creativity flourishing, even my photography improving. The second checkpoint, I think, is food, and it ties in very well with sleep because bad food can mess up your sleep and vice versa. When you're actually more sleep deprived, you crave more junk food or fried stuff and all that. I think that's one of the biggest ones for me is the fried stuff and the sugar. I used to eat whatever and think to myself, I'm active, I'll burn it off. But with my appendix waiting to explode, I was forced to be much more selective with what I eat. I didn't eat any less. I just changed the quality of what I was eating. Food is what your body actually uses for creative work. If you put in junk food, it will add junk to your creative work, or it will hold your creativity back. Biology works in thresholds, as my friend Sheikhuna likes to say. Once you actually pass a certain threshold of eating healthy food, your gut bacteria actually changes. Food that you once craved becomes almost repulsive, and you start actually craving more of that healthy food. Not only that, but research has found that the gut bacteria has a direct impact on your brain, mood, behavior, and motivation. Okay, now, what should you eat? I'm not by any means a dietitian, but here are some rules of thumb that worked for me and I think may work for many people. Eat food that is alive, full of life. The less meddled by humans, the better. Sugar is pretty much brain poison. Many studies have found that Alzheimer's is actually caused by consuming too much sugar. And since our brains are not used to finding calorically dense sugar in nature, we are hardwired to just get as much of it as possible when we see it. So if I'm trying to sell some type of food and I want to make sure people biologically can't resist it, I'll just add a bunch of sugar to it and just try to keep it to about 36 grams per day. I'm saying this, but I am no by no means have perfected this. Please keep that in mind. I'm not like saying like I figured out diet, do as I do. I'm getting advice from a certain source. Fiber, possibly one of the most underrated things in health. Most people don't get enough fiber, but by increasing the fiber intake, which is conveniently abundant in a lot of alive food that isn't meddled by humans, I become full much faster. And most people are actually not getting the fiber they need throughout the day. And TMI, bathroom trips have gotten a lot better. And we're not going to get into that. Oh, what is this doing here? Yeah. Okay. Jokes aside, I do slip up sometimes. Exploding appendix, totally worth it. But every time I do slip up, I'm immediately punished with a crash of energy, and my art suffers. And over time, I crave the boost of energy that real food provides. And I find it extremely delicious now and pretty much always prefer it. And you can get creative with mixing different things. And yeah, it turns out there's something called bioavailability, which pretty much makes all health benefits of each food exponentially more when you mix them together. Like if you have benefits from a lemon and benefits from tea, when you put them together, all both of their benefits are like multiplied. The selfish photographer refuses to eat things that knows will harm his body, mind, and creativity. Even when he's out with friends, he will prioritize eating something that will give him energy rather than take it away and sabotage his work. As my good friend Sheikhuna likes to say, food should give you life instead of actually take it away. Again, good friends will respect that and support you. I'm actually working on a few projects with Sheikhuna Ka. Sheikhuna is a biologist currently being funded by the National Science Foundation to study how life forms. He literally helped discover new species in Antarctica, and these are some of the photos he took while he was there on his phone, which I told him like you need have to take like as much footage as possible. If you're interested to see what we're cooking, we are working together to bring you the science of well-being and how it plays a role in creativity. So if that's something you're interested in, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Instagram at maherz_. My mom loves making cakes and absolutely delicious home baked goods. This is my mom, I'm the little one. That's my dad. On the left is my older brother. Even though I was a nightmare as a child, she still somehow loves me and simply wants me to be happy. She used to say that like she only knows I'm asleep when it's quiet. I think she probably gave me too much sugar. She just wanted me to experience the dopaminergic joy of consuming sugar. As a child, she gave me sugar and suffered the consequences. But now, when she offers me delicious homemade pastries, she's an incredible cook. Like people like know her to be one of the best cooks. I always respond now, no, let me save you from drowning, says the monkey. And I keep getting in trouble because she thinks I'm calling her a monkey. But more importantly, she takes it as a direct offense that I'm refusing her food. Her ego sees this as me refusing the love she's offering me. But as I keep explaining to her how much damage she's actually doing to me and my future and my success by feeding me this much sugar, she's slowly learning to offer me healthier alternatives. Okay, Derek, we're gonna get a little bit deep. Come back. Okay, here you are.
Uh-oh.
Do you think ego can
I'm
get in the
worried.
way?
Uh-oh,
What's happening? Can you hear me? Am I
what's going
gone?
on with my
Am I
audio
am
here?
I out? Whose audio? Oh, there. I can hear you. I can hear
Can't
you.
hear me.
I can hear you. I can hear you. Maybe you can't hear you. Say something.
Can I
Hello.
now?
I can hear you. I can. Oh, you can't hear me. What's up?
Now I can, but I'm going through another we're glitching here.
Oh no. This is. I think we're touching some big topics. The people in the know are sabotaging the signal because
All
we're
right,
about to get too
all right,
deep.
there we go. I switched audio ports on my headphones and now we're back. There we go.
Okay,
Give me
Derek.
time to get a drink.
Yeah. You can take a little sip. We're gonna get a little bit deep. Do you think ego can get in the way of being creative?
1000%.
Tell me more. Give me more
Ego.
before I dive.
So I think ego, it's like if you think you know everything, you will no longer make progress. The second you start thinking you can no longer be a student, you won't move forward past that. And I think if you're so caught up in your head that you can't, because to have too much ego, and I'm talking about too much ego here. I think ego is good. You have to
Yes,
be
yes.
confident. You have to be confident. So I think,
Nice.
yeah, we kind of got to divide that line there. Ego is good. Confidence is good. Having too much ego, yes, it can totally get in the way because then you are just throwing out narcissist vibes and you are projecting that onto everything that you do. That makes
You,
sense.
another time where you, as if you know what's coming next in the slides. He does not. He does not know what's coming next, but you touched on an excellent point, and we're gonna get into that. So we are, at our core, genetically selfish. Every single one of our genes has been replicated with remarkable fidelity over tens of millions of years. That means they've been exceptionally good at surviving consistently without fail for that long. Imagine taking photos and editing for 10 million years. You can't even fathom taking photos for 200 years, let alone 1,000 years. The point is this: our genes have perfected the art of survival. And one of the most powerful tools they've developed for survival is compassion. For example, and ego also. For example, when you protect and support your family, you're safeguarding your genes that you share with them as if they are part of you. So then, where does you begin and where does you end? Are you your arms? Is your hair you? If you cut off your hair, is it still you? How much of you can we cut off and it remains you? What is it that you are doing? Are you the one that talks? Are you the one that pumps your own heart? Are you the one that digests your own food? Are you the one breathing? So interestingly, breathing is one of those things that you can do, but also can happen to you in a way. This is why often it's used in meditation. It's the bridge between what you think is you and everything else. After all, the ingredients that make you you are common across the whole universe and that were manufactured in stars, as we mentioned in the previous workshop. But only by taking care of this individual unit, only then you can truly connect with everything else. This is not a photo I took. I wish I did. This is a photo from the Hubble Space Telescope, which is just beautiful. Our ego is essentially our skin encapsulated self, our sense of individuality. And while the ego often gets a bad reputation, it's not inherently a bad thing, just like Derek was saying. It's the reason you feel pain, the reason you dream, the reason you eat, the reason you strive to survive and create. But what if I told you that the ego is elastic? I hypothesize that our genes have evolved to stretch the boundaries of the ego, allowing us to include others within it as a way to increase the chances of survival for the whole. Consider mirror neurons. These remarkable brain cells let us literally feel the emotions and experience of others we're connected to. For instance, I remember feeling a sharp physical pain just hearing my mom describe how she fell off an electric scooter. So this is something like me and Derek were just talking about is having a little bit of ego, like having a form of ego is not a bad thing. And it can give you confidence. But when you have this very unelastic ego, you will think you know everything. You will think you're like the main character or whatever. The elastic ego allows us to see our loved ones, those who share our genes potentially, not as separate, but as part of ourselves. When this happens, you want to protect them, feed them, etc. And consequentially, your sense of self grows. You're no longer just a small individual, but part of a larger, more powerful whole, a family, a group, a tribe. But why stop there? When you expand your connections, your friendships, your team, your community, your ego stretches even further. It includes these people, making you a stronger, more motivated person. and also in some cases allowing you to learn from them. And this isn't just philosophy, it's biology. Over millions of years, our genes have tapped into the immense power of unity and community. Think about the World Cup, for example. Fans from rivaling clubs unite under one flag. The exhilarating feeling of being part of something massive, even losing a sense of individual identity, is an example of the elastic ego in action. Now, pair this with the understanding that compassion is one of the most powerful motivators for humans. When you expand your ego to include humanity itself, you can tap into a source of strength and connection greater than anything you've known. And with a camera, you can go even further. Through your lens, you can connect not only with people, but with animals, plants, mountains, and stars. With your camera, you can connect to the entire universe, or maybe you reconnect. But none of this is possible until you learn to connect with and care for yourself first. Here's a quote by Lao Tzu, which is a very well-known philosopher if you haven't heard of him. And he says, I have just three things to teach: simplicity, patience, and compassion. These three are your greatest treasures. Simple in action and simple in actions and in thought, you return to the source of being. Patience with both friends and enemies, you accord with the way things are. Compassionate, compassionate towards yourself, you reconcile all beings in the world. Be selfish. Prioritize your energy, because when you do, the art you create, the life you live, and the impact you have will echo far beyond yourself. The selfish photographer prioritizes their energy and uses their camera, their compassion, and their elastic ego to expand infinitely, unlocking their ultimate power. Now, there are a few more checkpoints, but for now, these will do just fine, and you might stumble upon the other ones on your journey. Thank you so much, Sony and B&H, for providing me with this platform and hosting and sponsoring this. Derek, thank you for being with me today. You almost didn't, but I'm glad you made it. And I want to hear more of what you have to say. And special thanks to Stephanie from B&H for working behind the scenes to make all this happen. I truly appreciate you.
Look at
How are
that
we feeling?
exhale.
Do you
So
have any thoughts?
yeah, I want to flip it back on you.
Oh
And
God, not enough of me.
not
God.
are there certain things, are there certain correlations that you see in your life for when your equilibrium is off, or when you're putting out too much and you're draining your battery or filling the cup of others without filling yourself, that you see reflected in your creativity?
No, absolutely. There's something I like to call serve and punish, which kind of do. I've caught myself doing, and it's something I'm ashamed of. But it's when I'm like at my limit, and I decide to do something for someone, and then I end up growing very resentful, and then I end up kind of almost habitually or subconsciously being like resentful and negative towards them. And this is another example of the road to hell is paved with good intentions. The monkey putting the fish high on the tree. I'm thinking I'm doing them a service by taking them and putting them high on the tree. But when I recognize that, I realize that my energy is limited and I can't do that if I don't take care of myself. I can't do anything if I'm foggy, if I haven't slept well, if I haven't eaten well, if I'm not there, I can't really do something for someone. So I think that's an example of something I've noticed I do, and I turn very toxic, and then it's embarrassing. It's horrible to see, but I'm like, I see myself do it. I'm like, oh God, I'm capable of being very, very toxic when I don't take care of myself.
Hmm. Put your oxygen mask on first.
Exactly, exactly.
It's like they say on the planes. Who would have thought advice that they give you for emergencies on planes can serve as life? I mean, it's really life changing.
But
You have to look back at yourself and you have to take care of yourself. Ultimately, that's what you have. You came in with it, you're leaving with it.
yeah,
That's the way that you really, and I think we're exposed to so much now, kind of to stay. I was going to say to take this on a deeper level, but I think you already accomplished getting us to the deeper level. I'm just gonna stay there.
It's like,
We're gonna
yeah,
sit
please,
there.
let's sit there. Let's get toasty.
We have so much stimulation
Hmm.
that is around us, and it's like, in a certain sense, it's like I don't think the human body, the human mind and brain wasn't created to process so much stimulation. I don't feel. I feel that we way overstimulate ourselves, and it's nobody's taking a step back. Everyone's just saying, "Oh, well, all right, well now we're just going to introduce more technology to make you be able to do more things easier, and then we're going to kind of here, let the AI take care of this." And I'm not making this about AI, and I'm not making this a referendum on technology or any of that. But how often do we pump the brakes and really just revert back to a earth mentality of, hey, just need to go outside and disconnect from everything. And I really need to just center myself and get myself back to things that I can process rather than, hey, I'm going to multitask. I'm going to see how much I can do. I'm going to, you know, log into a company meeting on Zoom from the laptop on my passenger seat while I'm driving to the store and texting someone on my phone while looking in my rear view mirror. Like it's like we try to do so much and accomplish so many things that I think that affects our creativity as a whole, just the way we're living, at least the way that this whole Western way of living, where it's like I feel like in this country in such a race to where we're in a race to be able to multitask more, to be able to squeeze more time into the day. And I think in a lot of cultures around the world, you see more of a focus on family, more of a focus on mental health, more of a focus on free time. And what are we doing over here? We're walking down the sidewalk and having to walk around 11-year-olds setting up their phone to lean up against the bench so they can record a dance to post online for a bunch of strangers who they'll never meet and they probably shouldn't give two craps about. There's my
Yeah.
rant. But I
No,
mean,
that I totally second that. And I think it's a big part of also why like we need to take care of ourselves and we need to be more selfish because if we do multitask, first of all, I know some people are gonna hate hearing this, but there's no such thing as multitasking. It's called switch tasking, and your brain is basically trying to switch back and forth. And it's been scientifically proven that it's literally less productive and less efficient. But when you try to do too much, you sabotage doing everything. When you try to be a perfectionist and make everything work in a certain way, you end up ruining so much. And I think that can apply to how we live our lives, how we try to maybe give and provide love. And I think it can also be another example of like the monkey putting the fish high on the tree. And I see this so like ever since the first few times I heard this quote, I didn't even know what he was talking about. Like Alan Watts was on like I don't know what he was talking about. But the more I heard it and I'm like, oh, I notice this happening all the time with my life and with other people's lives. And it's surprising that when you actually be selfish a little bit, you actually become more compassionate and you can, again, as Lao Tzu said, reconcile with all beings. And I think we do need to take care of ourselves in so many ways. And these are the main, I just mentioned a few, but yeah, what you said about taking care of ourselves and our mental health, the section about mental health was actually so large for me that I was like, I can't even put it in here. I'll put it on the side and we'll see what we could do with it in the future. But totally, like that's without a healthy brain or a healthy mental health, there is no health at all. Like you can be in top tier condition, tip top condition, tip top condition. But if your mind is not clear, what are you gonna do? Like, what are
yeah,
you gonna do with all the energy?
or even creating for others. It's like creating for yourself is where when you really start to create for yourself and you're not concerned with, and again, it goes back to my last rant, it's baked into the culture now where everything is bells and whistles and dings and notifications and likes and
Mm-hmm.
comments, and it's this Pavlovian dog, where we hear the bell and we instantly run to get
Notification.
the dopamine hit. And I think stripping that away and really just detoxing ourselves from that mentality of needing a pat on the back, needing approval, and going, how many times I'm going to throw this out here, just for our listeners, how many times have you not posted something online because, oh, it's not in line with what I usually post? Or it's different, or my followers or fans might not like it.
You're my inspiration with posting whatever I want. Like I genuinely, I'm not just saying this. Like I see what you post. I'm like, this guy is just
It's
doesn't
off
care.
the
He posts
rails.
whatever he wants. And I'm like, oh, if he can do this, maybe I can too. He's in a good place. He's working with B&H and stuff.
Well,
Like,
I think you need people. You need people who are leaders, not followers. People who are going to say, because how many times have you thought something, and no matter how far out there the thought is, you see something, you see a meme, and you're like, oh my God, that totally nails. I didn't know anyone else felt this way. And the chances are that a million other people or 10 million other people feel that way.
hmm.
And so if you never put it out there, then you never know what good you're doing. Put good things out and put just genuine authenticity out into the world. One of the things that I had to get over, a hump I had to get over and realize is that, people aren't always going to show you that they like your work. They're not always going to tell you that they like your work. They're not always going to, in some way, shape, or form, communicate that your work is impactful to them or that you inspire them, but it's happening. And it's like if a tree falls in the woods, well, guess what? Yeah, it still does make a noise. And if you don't get likes and follows and somebody doesn't reach out and say, oh my God, here, you got to come back online. We love you. Don't go anywhere. Guess what? You're still impacting people. And I think that comes back to that selfishness. And that's where the healthy ego resides of be your own biggest fan because you're the only fan that matters is you being happy with, am I happy? Am I fulfilled? Am I reaching towards a goal? Do I have intent in what I'm creating? And am I in the right direction or on the right path? And I think once you really strip away everything else, true happiness is not caring what anybody else thinks.
Isn't that paradoxical? How when you just do your own thing and take care of yourself, that's actually when you can actually connect to other people and have an impact. And that's
Yeah.
kind of the whole idea behind what I was trying to say, and you said it wonderfully.
Wow. Well, there we go. I think that's such a beautiful conversation to have with yourself. A lot of people, we need to have more conversations with ourselves, and we really need to ask the tough questions. And it's okay to have a little bit of ego, as you said. It is funny though how when you said ego, we all take that
Like,
immediately defensive stance, like ego, no,
whoa,
ego's bad,
ego. I don't have ego.
ego's bad. I mean, I went there, and it's like I took the bait,
Mm.
and then you have to kind of sit with
No,
it,
but you
process it.
said not all egos, but and that's something I didn't like. I wasn't planning that someone will think, but like you literally thought it, you got it, and that's why I was like, man, this guy's on me. He must be leaking my slides from Google Slides or something.
I'm tapped in. Oh man, Maher, another great conversation. And look, for everybody out there, I hope you guys have enjoyed these. It's nice to get away from really just not everything could be technical. Sometimes, especially me, I love diving into the brain and the way we think, and it is so interconnected with what we do and what we create, who we are as people. Talk about this, a lot of times with our guests about how related the two are, photography and just people in
Absolutely.
general, and one kind of takes care of the other. So,
Hmm.
Maher, it's been a pleasure having you on to kind of take that deep dive. There's nobody better to take that dive than you. It's like
Stop.
you love getting into this stuff, man.
You know I do. You saw how excited
You
I
love
am.
going
Like
out in the weeds, like
you saw how excited.
unapologetically, like we're taking a class
I was
trip.
like, I'm pushing it a little this time, but let's see what happens.
Nah, you know what? And again, it's like nothing ventured, nothing gained. You have to. It takes a strong course to really blaze that trail and stick with it and say, you know what? Who cares? Because at the end of the day, really, who cares?
Who cares? And I do believe in what I'm preaching here, even though I haven't mastered it myself, but it is something that I truly think can actually impact the entire planet if people embrace some of these concepts, including myself, obviously. And yeah, so I'll keep screaming about these things until I can't.
There you go. Well, huge thank you to Maher again. And you totally, man, I introduced you with the most American, uninspired,
This is no,
lack of
but this is
salt and
good.
seasoning
I keep
accent, and then
telling
you
you.
come in and it's like your whole name. I'm
Okay,
like,
listen, hear me out, hear me out. I told you this is good because I need people to have a way of saying my name, but I realized that I like saying it like just like it starting off the workshops saying the whole name right. It's something different than like me saying it wrong, knowing it's wrong. But like it's not. It's just different ways of interpretation. And no one, no, I'm not gonna like. I don't expect people in the U.S. or people who are speaking English to come up to be like, "Hey, man, how's it going?" Like, like I don't expect that. So
Don't
I
ever
want
expect that
people.
from me. You know you're not getting
No,
it.
I want people. I want people to take it, modify it, and make it a way comfortable that they can get my attention, and that's all that matters. Because otherwise, people are gonna be like, "Hey, bro, hey, man." So I'm glad you're saying my name. Keep saying it however feels right to you, as long as I hear it from the heart.
There it is. Well, huge thank you to Maher. Maher?
Nice.
Maher?
That's all.
There we go. We're getting there. We're getting there. If I just make it quicker, it's like
Yeah,
it's
quicker.
less
You
for
can
you to
hide. You can hide the
I can
yeah,
hide it.
yeah.
Exactly. Well, Maher, great having you on as usual. Huge thank you to Sony, of course, for hosting this wonderful series. And to all of our viewers out there, tap into the brain. Don't be afraid to go a little deep, a little into the weeds. Maher, we'll see you next time
That
here
was
on the
good. That was a
B&H
good
Event
one.
Space. Another edition now in the books. Catch y'all next time.